Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Laguna Seca here with Matthew Duffin and Aaron Smith in the commentary box for the Oman Digital Motorsport F4 Championship. They've just started the first heat a little earlier than scheduled. The first heat is underway, and we managed to make sure that we get everybody coming down in towards turn 1, 2, and into 3 as well. Under the Firestone Bridge they go. And it is a very clean getaway, a strange getaway compared to what we saw in this league last time out, Aaron.
Well, it's a lot more clean, I can tell you that for sure. And yeah, it's genuinely surprising, like a complete opposite of what happened last week. A big send there from one of the drivers down into the 4th turn and managed to make it stick. And again, Laguna Seca, we were predicting it's going to be fairly messy. That's super close between the 6 and 7. And this is the weirdest start to a broadcast I've ever had, I've got to be honest. Down into the corkscrew we go. Definitely one of the most tricky corners on the entire track, and that's a car that's mounted another one, and they all have to avoid one another going down there. And it's a huge accident.
It is mayhem, and we predicted this in the chat. Look at that, is a pile up at the corkscrew. We predicted this would happen here at Laguna Seca. The corkscrew would be the death of most of these drivers, and well, it has been. It has been a catastrophic start to this race. It was a great opening. A dismal end. Oh my days, that is a bit of an unsafe rejoin there. And Joshua in the broadcast, in the commentary box with us, but doing the broadcasting, he's got a lot of action to keep up with tonight, that is for sure. But it is Obeid Salim who leads this race from Ibrahim Al-Alawi in 2nd place. And then it is Fahad Al-Rahawi in 3rd, with Malik Fahamawi in P4. Thor is P5. With Meshari P6, Rakitin is P7, Manaf Al-Balushi is P8, Abdul Malik is P9, and Vasil Faramets is P10. That rounds out the top 10 there. We've already got several drivers who have returned to the pit lane, and if we remember back to a week ago, them drivers who was in the pits all of a sudden merged onto the racing line as the leaders came around, and it was a bit more mayhem. So the carnage isn't over yet. We've got a 10-minute Heat 1 sprint race, if you will. And it is lap 2 of 10 in this race. These cars lapping a minute and a half around this circuit. So this already has been a disastrous start. Rear wings and front wings, and that was more chaotic than the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah, I think turn 1, to be honest, was more chaotic than the entire Monaco Grand Prix. Nothing happened at all. But yeah, this is the complete opposite. Everything happened. Down into this corner that we're about to go over. This blind crest now down into one of the most tricky corners, not only on the track, in the world. And mayhem ensued. Like you said, Matthew, we all predicted that this would probably happen. A lot of these drivers are a little bit inexperienced, and you can definitely tell as look at the mayhem. I think I saw and counted about 8 drivers who ended up in the pit lane after that one corner, which just goes to say it all, to be honest. Yeah, once again, we would like to apologise for the start. I think the league might have got underway about 5 or 10 minutes before It was meant to, but nevertheless, we're here, we're racing, and I don't think we're quite going to make it to all 10 laps, as this is it's 10 laps or 10 minutes, so I'm predicting we'll probably get about 7 or 8 laps, I think.
Yeah, you're probably right there then, as the field is starting to get a little spread out at the moment. This is Ibrahim Al-Alawi, who is in second place. He's dropped off the back of the leader, Salim, and has got Rahawi on the back of him. And we can confirm that we have been told that race 3 will be Saturday, so you won't want to miss that. 6:15 as always on the Apex Racing TV channel. 5:15 GMT. As that's a big slide for Ibrahim out the final corner, just taking too much of the curb and getting it a little loose. Manages to save it well. P4, Fahad Al-Rahawi then is hunting him down, but the gap just starting to get a little spaced out now, Aaron. We saw that short track last week. Not a lot of braking zones, not a lot of corners really to brace the field out compared to Laguna Seca. A bit of a longer lap and a few more sharper corners and trickier corners to get through. So that's allowing this field to be a bit more spread and a bit more bunched. Here's Thor, though. He had a good running last week. The blue and white car on the outside of Malik at the moment. Still going side by side in towards turn 4 they come now. So great racing from these two already as Thor goes a little wide, drops wheel onto that deserty, sandy, gravelly stuff on the outer curb and tucks back in behind. But great bit of racing between them two there.
Yeah, this track is notorious for being a bit difficult for going side-by-side racing, especially the faster and faster cars you get. I think F4 probably suits this track quite well, to be honest. The slipstream as well should be helping these guys a lot now down into the corkscrew, like we mentioned a couple of times. Definitely not an overtaking opportunity. Most of the time you can do it, but you need full cooperation from both drivers, and the part of me thinks that won't be happening today at all. So main overtaking opportunities you're looking at probably into the last corner, turns 1 and 2, down into turn 3 as well, possibly turn 5, and then the last part of the lap. There's not too many opportunities left to go. It's crucial that you get a good exit out of this last corner, this long pitch straight, slipstreaming all the way down to turns 1 and 2, which of course are double hairpins, and it's just absolutely chaotic, especially on that first lap. Like we saw Rakitin just in this 3-car train right now. He's gained nicely onto the back of these two. And like you said, it was a good racing between Thor and Malik. This is for 4th place at the moment.
It is for 4th place, and a good little battle here. Like you say, Rakitin getting onto the back of Thor and Malik. A bit of a battle for 7th and 8th just behind. This is Tariq Al-Zubair, who had his dramas last week, if I remember rightly. He's now coming in towards that final corner, down in 17th place. He's got Ismail El Mudi on the back of him, and that's a car who's entered the pit lane. That is Abdul Rahman then into the pits. That promotes these drivers up a couple of spots, but Al Zubair trying to get onto the back of Nicholas Argo, put Ranto just in front, but not able to do so far. And Abdul Rahman, like we said, the other Abdul Rahman Al Wahali, is also on the back of that Ismail battle. Adam Arwan, he's not been out since the start of the race. He could be out of this race, and Abdul Rahman gets underway once again. 7 minutes gone through this first heat, and it's been a chaotic lap 1 and a pretty quiet rest of the races. Move there for 7th and 8th. That is big swap around now for 7th and 8th and 9th. There is 3 cars changing places up the order. And for me, Faramet's then down in P9. There's now a car out. That is Belushi who is out. Thor now trying to get up into P3. We're not quite sure who is where on the circuit. This is Thor around the outside. So this is backing up battle for P4. He's just ahead then of Malik, just in front. We'll have the inside line coming into turn 4. Thor still trying to go around the outside. Ratikin just watching from behind, and Thor pulls in as Ratikin was just enough room between the pair of them. And just in front of this battle, I believe there is another battle of 2 cars in front as well. And Aaron, very good racing from these 3 at the moment.
Yeah, it's been fairly clean. Like you mentioned, there are a couple of cars that had a few incidents, and going through turn 5 there was a car that I believe was in the wall. I don't know who that was, but there a couple of drivers really struggling around here, and I'm not surprised. Summit compared to this, it's fairly, like you said, it was quite a normal, easy track, and then Laguna Seca does require that little bit more practice to get it right, a bit longer, a bit more tricky. This is El Moody coming into the last corner. Is he going to go for a spin on the exit? I think it might have just been him going a bit slower to the last corner, but he's doing okay. We're going to move back to this battle now for P4. It's been actually quite entertaining so far. And I believe we are not going to be on the white flag this lap. And there goes Thor down the inside. I don't think that move was planned at all. I just think Malik broke super early. Thor thought, oh God, okay, I'm going to have to pull out. Otherwise, I am running into the back of you. And, well, huge lockup from the Japanese driver. And we're going to watch a replay of what actually happened. And just look at Malik in front there. He definitely broke a little bit earlier than Thor was expecting. And pulled out. That was not planned at all, but I don't think he'll be complaining. He managed to gain a place from it.
Yeah, he got it stopped on the apex, turned in nicely and got the job done. It was a lovely move from Thor, but like I say, just caught him out a little bit. Great driver awareness to not just run into the back of him and to actually get it done. Here is Obeid Salim, then leader of the race. He did get caught, I saw on the timing screen, he lost about a couple of tenths and they dropped with under a second to him. So Al Alawi trying to get onto that top step of the podium, really pushing the car hard here. He was a tenth quicker last time around, and the car behind him was also quicker by a couple of hundredths. So it is interesting to see these drivers going around at the moment. We are going to take the white flag now, so we're going to get 8 racing laps around this circuit. Abdul Rahman on pit exit once again. And the pit exit, let's not forget, is right the way down after turns 1 and 2. As you come into this long section of the long first and second corner that kind of never ends for a while. You just got to hurry up and wait on the throttle. But Salim, great race for him. Out front from the start, he's not really looked back. He's now gaining on the back of that, like we said, Abdul Rahman, who's just left the pit lane. So Salim here will be wanting to make sure he can lap the driver and be on his way to possibly a race win this season. Here is Fahad Al Rahawi, and you see there Abdul Rahman moving right out the way, even probably getting on the brakes to slow it right down to let the 3 leaders through, and that's great from the back markers as they come to the corkscrew for the final time in Heat 1.
Yeah, it's been pretty easy for Salim, to be honest, and well, he'll have a lot tougher jobs to do in the feature race. Of course, the entire grid is reversed to give everyone a bit of a shake-up going into that feature race. As he rounds the final few corners, not really going to be too difficult for him. He's just got to keep it on the road. Got a nice gap to Alawawi behind. Nice and early on the brakes. A little bit of a lock-up, but I don't think he'll care too much as he rounds the final corner all the way up to the line. And Salim wins this first heat race of today, and I don't think Alawawi will be too disappointed with that. Second place is nice. And Rahawi finishing in third. There's your top 3. And this battle going on for 5th and now all the way up until the line. Rakitin did not quite manage to get past Malik for 5th, as I think Malik was just struggling on those final few laps. And actually finished way behind Thor, who overtook him into that first corner, and he finished nearly 2 seconds behind him. He was really struggling towards the end. But like we said, that feature race is going to be a completely different kettle of fish. And, well, last time out, it was where all of the chaos happened. And is it going to happen again?
Well, time will tell, won't it? Fermatus gets P9. That is Mishari in P10. Abdullah has crossed the line for P11. Then it'll be Nicholas Argo Putaranto for P12. He's not quite at the line yet. Here he is. As there is just a little battle behind, and that is Al Zubair, who's a little slow at the final corner. But Al Wahabi is too far back to make the move stick then. And then across the line, Abdul Rahman Al Wahabi will finish in at P14 and so on. Here's a few replays, and as we get into a little consolation, little wait for the drivers to get underway, to get a bit of track time. And I do believe we are going right away, we're being told in our ear. So they are getting ready on the grid for this second race. And a very quick turnaround, Aaron. They enjoy to not only go fast on the circuit, but go fast in terms of getting them back on the track.
Yeah, and well, admittedly, didn't expect this race was to be coming, but oh well. I believe, from what I'm seeing, in that first heat race, the top 10 will be going into the feature race, and well, we'll see what happens in this consolation race as we are underway here at Laguna Seca for the second time tonight. It's a pretty even start for the front two. Looks like the third place man has managed to get a bit of a jump on them As down to turn 1 we go. Albert, there's a bit of a send as we head into the first 2 hairpins of this first lap. Let's hope they can all keep it clean, and they did on lap 1 through here. And there's 2 spinners in the background already. That's not going to be good for them at all. And they've got a lot of work to do in this race. And there's another spinner, and that's a huge accident heading into turn 3. And we've already had 4 cars having big incidents. One of them's towed back to the pit lane. El Mudi is the one who's towed back. There's another car that's towed back. Here we go into turn 5. Really, really close racing, but wow, that's honestly what a crazy start to this race once again.
Absolutely phenomenal at the moment. It's been a few drivers having spins and incidents, but we come up to the famous corkscrew now for the first time in this consolation race. This will be for a few drivers to get into that feature race at the very end. We didn't see this last time out, so a bit of a change in format for the drivers this week. That's a good move on the exit of the corkscrew there, as he's trying to get the job done through the left-hander, and he does so. And that is Tariq Al-Zubair, I believe, who's just moved up to second place. I believe it was Aaron who got the move done. It was Aaron. So well done you, as he moves up the inside at the final corner as well. The door was open, up he goes, and Aaron gets another move done. He had a great feature race last time out, and you was pretty pleased about that one, wasn't you?
Just a tiny bit. He's going absolutely fantastically in this race so far. Let's hope he can hold on to that second place and see what he can do up against the leader, who's currently 2 seconds ahead. Al-Takawi is 2 seconds ahead, like I just mentioned, and this is a very, very short race. Only a few laps for these drivers to try and get themselves into that feature race. And Al-Takawi, with that 2 second gap, he needs to just not push that much, as 2 seconds is a long old way, especially when you've only got 3 minutes left. We've got 4 drivers into the pits already, and this race, I genuinely don't think I've ever seen such a short race on iRacing in my entire life. It's minimum 10 minutes. 5 minutes is just send it every lap. Like, what have you got to lose?
Yeah, carnage. Exactly. Al-Takawi, his gap has came down to 1.6 seconds. So Aaron on the push here through the corkscrew. He comes dipping it through as they all come through. A little wiggle on the white car there, dropping down through the corkscrew as they all come down. Al-Balushi is coming out of the pit lane now. Abdul Rahman is out the race. El Mudi and Balushi is also in the pits. So they will not continue, and that is Nicholas Putaranto off at the penultimate corner. Just went straight on. Looks like he bounced over the sausage curb and straight on the car went. That'll be the end of his chances really in this race with 3 minutes gone. There's probably only 2 laps left in this race, but here is Butsev, the Ukrainian driver, as we see a couple more cars coming on to pit exit. And they'll be rejoining right into the thick of these battles. But he's done well though. He stayed to the gravel and the sand here in California, and has done very well to make sure he stays out the way there. But already an interesting fight, and already an interesting sort of battle. But like we said, the change of format really is kind of 5 minutes. It's a bizarre race to see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's very, as a driver, 5 minutes for a race is just, I don't even know. It genuinely is. Every single lap, you've just got to go for it. You don't have any time to really make that much of a comeback. Lap 1 would have been extremely important. Hence why I think a couple of drivers were being very, very aggressive. And, well, I said about that 2 second gap, the outer car we had out in front, that's now 2/10, as Aaron has put down some absolutely amazing lap times. And outer car, we will, of course, want to hold on to that lead as Aaron goes for the lead of the race down into the last corner. I think he was just way too deep on the brakes and unfortunately messed that one up. Should have been a little bit patient and just tried to get a good exit around that final corner. Anna Fischer is also in there in 3rd place. He might try to go for a move on Aaron on the outside of turn 1. He has to be careful, though. They do not want to afford any crashes or mistakes from one another, as this is going to be the last lap. So just it's going to be full send. Outer car, we're going for a very aggressive defense, and he's completely crashed off of the road. Aaron has sent him into the gravel trap. Outer car, we know he's an aggressive defender. We saw it last week, and he's done it again. But I think Aaron also had to have seen that gap was always going to close, and now it's between Aaron and Al Nafisa for 1st place. This is also a battle going on for 3rd. This is Al Zubair defending for his life against Bustev and Al Wahabi. Just a couple drivers behind him, but up at the front, it's only 0.2 of a second. Is Al Nafisa going to go for a move down into the corkscrew. It looks like he's backed out of it just for now, and that's a smart idea going into the corkscrew as Aaron goes very wide. And only a few corners to go on this last lap of this very, very short 5-minute race, and it's been just absolutely mental 5 minutes, and that's what you love to see. And he's locked up, and this is going to give Al Nafisa a chance to go for the lead of the race. They have to be careful not to make contact. Aaron's gone very deep into the last corner. It's going to be a drag race to the line. They're bumping tyres, bumping front wings. Aaron's being far too aggressive, and I have no idea what to say about that, but Aaron somehow wins that by 15 thousandths of a second. And Aaron Frizzano giving the Gran Turismo line to the my brain is fried. I have no idea what just happened. I've never seen something like that in my life in iRacing before. And well,
that was baffling. That was very interesting to see as we're going to take one more look at it. So Aaron made the mistake earlier in the lap, and then he comes looking to the outside, changes back to the inside. He's looked at his move all day, slight lock up again. Oh, that was earlier, sorry. That was earlier in the race. That's when he tried to go for the race lead, and he locked up and went very deep there, did Aaron. Hopefully we can look at the final lap as well, because that was absolutely bizarre. But this could be the defence coming in towards turn 3 as well. This, though, I believe, is the last lap. This is where he goes wide. So this is where he goes very deep, and Aaron's going to try and come back up the inside. No contact at the moment, and then you've got you've got Alan Ashfish just coming back on the track, and they're both just bumping and bouncing off each other's like a fairground bumper car ride. But Aaron takes that race win, and I think I said it last week, Aaron. It's a good job we don't steward these races, and that they have their own stewards, because, yeah, interesting call. But Aaron wins that one, representing all the Aarons around the world, and he will take a 2-hour 20-minute feature, in which we will be getting ready to go very, very shortly. We've seen chaos in race 1, chaos in less chaos in race 2, more bumper cars, I'd say, in race 2, and we're about to get ready for race 3. Who will be the winner in this final race of the day? Very quick to go here in these races, and it's going to be, I believe, Salim we're waiting to be on the grid. I believe he is now. So there he is, P1 for Obeid Salim. Then it's Ibrahim Al-Alawi as the lights come on, and we get ready to go here for the feature race. It is green and go, and it is a decent start from second place. Ibrahim Al-Alawi then, who's going to get along the outside, coming down towards turn 1 of Salim, and it's already side-by-side action. Cars now starting to fan out in towards turn 1, and is there any carnage at the minute? No, all good through turn 1 in towards turn 2. Everybody looks like they're facing the right way now. That is spoke too soon. That was going to be absolutely fantastic, and I think that was Aaron who was actually in the wall. So your consolation race winner, Aaron, was in the wall, and yeah, he's got a lot of work to do in this 20-minute race. But we now are a lot more bunched up, a few more cars on the grid coming up towards the corkscrew. This is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, definitely. I just heard some tyre screeching there. I believe that was the Ukrainian driver, Bustev, who's gone for a little bit of a spin. I think he's managed to get back out onto the track, but Aaron's got back past him. And, well, it's been a lot more quiet, but down into the corkscrew, like we saw in the first heat race, is it going to be more carnage down there? From these big pack of drivers up at the front, it's fairly quiet, and down towards the back of the pack is a little bit more aggressive, but they've all got through fairly cleanly. Seems like they've all learnt from those first 2 races so far. Anyway, there's a bit more contact there between Aaron and I believe Faramets down at the order. A couple of drivers going off onto the gravel. It is a tricky corner. Now going 3 wide, and that's inevitable contact. That's 3 cars, and wow, Aaron's just driven on by all of them and just said thank you very much. And well, Aaron, who had a spin on that first corner, has now managed to actually gain places on this first lap, which kind of tells you all you need to know, really.
It does really indeed. He's gone from 14th or so up to P9 already, so he's gone from the back of the pack to mid-pack, and he's now going to be on the charge, hunting down. He's only 4 seconds behind the next car in front. There's a few drivers running very wide, all on their own, and nearly dropping the rear, but Salim not having it his own way in this race so far. Ibrahim Al-Alawi is trying to put the pressure on him. Second place on the grid he was, and It's been a real good fight between these two. Nice and clean and composed from the front pit as they come to the corkscrew for the second time. Like we said, 20-minute race this time around for the feature. Thor's P4. So what will he do? Coming through the corkscrew, down the hill they drop, nicely taken. We saw great driving from Thor last week. He just didn't seem to have the outright pace. That seems to be the case here as well today. Not the fastest on the circuit, but great racecraft.
Yeah, definitely. And I think...
Oh, Aaron's in the pits!
Oh, dear. Yeah, just saw that. I think that might have been down into the corkscrew or something, and he's had to tow back. Unfortunately, as Al Nafusa comes back out onto the circuit, he is going to be a lap down, unfortunately. Don't know what happened to Aaron, though. As well, he looks fairly speedy. We saw that last week, and we saw it in the consolation as well. But sometimes just it's a little bit mistake prone and a bit aggressive, I think is the correct thing to say. Down into the corkscrew, then I was right. And let's see what he does. It's very, very wide. Goes for a spin. And I think he'll just give up. And yeah, he tows back to the pits and just says, I've had enough. And that'll be the end of Aaron's day. He at least got one victory from it in that consolation race, albeit a bit suspicious down to the line, but nevertheless got the win anyway. And well, now we're back to the lead of this race. Salim only 0.3 of a second ahead of Alawawi. And from what I can understand, in that first heat race, it was the top 10 who went through into this one, and consolation, the top 5 went through as well into the feature race. That's a big lock-up from the lapped car of Al Nafisa. Let's hope he doesn't get in the way of the drivers on the lead lap, and looks like he's managed to let everyone through fairly safely at the moment. It's kind of only the top 8 at the moment who are in contention at all, and then everyone else has just had a bit of a horrid time.
Yeah, they have indeed, and Alphanisha stays off onto the gravel as Thor will put a lap on him further back, and he stays to the inside part of the circuit. He's done well to get out of the way and make sure he stays out of the way of the oncoming traffic then, but it's the leaders who are the closest to on the circuit. There's a good fight here as well between Rakitin and Malik. These two are fighting in that sprint race, if you remember earlier on, and actually they've got Thor just in front. He was fighting with him as well, so these three still going at it from the sprint race and doing rather well. Again, Thor just has that bit of a gap over Malik behind him, and then this is Rakitin looking on, and you can see P3 that Thor is going to try and chase after. But it is Salim from Al Alawi, P1 and 2. It is Fahad Al Rahawi is P3. And it is for Malik and Rakitin down the order. But Salim not as comfortable out front this time, you have to say. Ibrahim has managed to keep him honest as we're 5 minutes through. He had a bit of a bigger gap after the first 5 minutes in the sprint race.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we might be on for a pretty tasty battle for the lead in this race anyway. Let's hope they can both keep it on the track, as we have seen quite a few mistakes from some drivers already today. They definitely look like the calmest drivers out there at the moment. Everyone else is just trying to keep face as Rakitin goes a little bit wide coming through the second to last corner. And another thing about this track you do have to watch out for, which some of these more inexperienced drivers will definitely be keeping an eye on, is the curbs at this track are deadly. If you go on any of them, it will send you into oblivion. And as a rookie driver, as you know, we've all been there, we've all started out at some point, as Al Rahawi and Arvind going side by side into turns 1 and 2. Very wide there from Arvind as he now goes up the inside, and looks like he's going to hold on to that 7th place. He went off the track to do it, but fair racing is fair racing, and Al Rahawi's just going to have to try and find another way to get past his rival in front of him. He has to be a little bit patient, but yeah, this track is one of those that you know how deadly the curbs are, but if you want to be quick, you have to get as close as humanly possible to them. But some of these rookie drivers probably have a bit of a fear of them right now.
Fear of them, and that little bit of maybe inexperience of getting close to them as well. But like I say, that is the fastest way through this circuit. Just don't touch them, because they will launch you a million miles off into the sand. And as you come down the corkscrew, and Al Rahawi still trying to chase down Vijay Arvind just ahead of him, and this is the battle for 8th and 7th place. And they've got Meshari just behind them, as that was a mistake from Arvind just in front. You pan away down to P9 now. We cut back to the action. Al Rahawi is still managed to keep hold of that position. He's not lost out at the moment. Sorry, Arvind hasn't lost out at the moment. It's Al Rahawi who's trying to go for that place. Well defended into turn 1 and into 2. And again, these drivers just following each other nicely now. 7.5 minutes through this race. And Saif Al Rahawi patiently waiting. He's not looking to lunge or make too many, aggressive manoeuvres. But, he's dropped it all on his own. Who's that? That is Mishari.
That's Aaron.
Yeah, that is Mishari. Oh, was it Aaron a lap down? Oh,
Yep.
so it was Aaron a lap down. Apologies. I'm looking at the timing screen, getting the wrong name. Aaron a lap down, then he's returned to the pit lane. That's twice he's dropped it all on his own. Poor Aaron.
Yes, I can once again comfortably say that he does not represent all Aaron's. He is his own man. And he's had a bit of a torrid time in this feature race. He had a pretty good consolation race, but yeah, just has dropped the ball a little bit in this one, and I don't think we'll be seeing him again in this race. I think he's had enough of this Laguna Seca track, and like I said, it is not beginner friendly. Even though it does come free with iRacing, it's definitely one of the more tricky ones that do come with the service. That and probably the likes of Snetterton, one of the harder tracks that's actually are free now, and I guess Winton as well. But back up to the top then. It looks like Salim's just managed to pull away from Al Awawi in second place. It's now nearly a second, and he's just put the pedal down a little bit more. We've got about 11, just over 11 minutes to go in this race, and got a couple battles brewing here and there. You've got Thor, Famuami, and Rakitin as usual. They were battling just for the entirety of that first race, and looks like they might be about to do it again.
Yeah, Thor's still got that gap over Malik at the moment, but Rakitin trying to hunt him down. He couldn't get past him in race 1. Looking to try and get past him here in the feature race, that is for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see as he slides it through the left-hand bend there, coming up towards the corkscrew. He's really throwing that F4 around this Laguna Seca circuit, and the field just a little space out. And I suppose this is the difference, Aaron, in the two circuits from Summit Point last week to this one today. Just allowing the grid after a while to just fan out a little bit and not have them gaps as close as we saw last week. And I suppose as well, for the traffic, that is a little easier for those guys coming out of the pit lane.
Yeah, traffic at this track is not ideal, especially for those of us who have dabbled in IMSA every now and then. Of course, IMSA was here at Laguna Seca a few weeks ago, and those who do multi-class racing know that this track, being fairly narrow, is you do really need to be looking in your mirrors and paying attention to your relative all the time. And especially in situations like this, where we've had a couple incidents, a couple of drivers struggling, you do have to be on top of your game and keep an eye for the drivers behind. Otherwise, there will be big accidents like we did see last week at Summit Point, as when you got confused between the lapped cars and who was on the lead lap. It was just absolute mayhem. As about half the grid were a lap down, they were still fighting the guys on the lead lap. But I don't think we're going to get quite the same here today, as a couple of drivers there really pushing it, really pushing the track limits. You've noticed a lot of drivers dipping into that sand, and once again there, Rakitin just trying to get onto the back of Malik in front, but he's just lagged that little bit. He's getting very close as we head through the corkscrew, but not quite close enough to go for a move. The Ukrainian driver getting very impatient. And this can happen as a driver. You've seen the back of someone's rear wing, or just the rear of their car in general, and you start seeing red mist. You just want to be in front of them, and you do not care how much it costs. He's going to try and get a good exit, as that was Malik going very wide around the last corner, but somehow it managed to work for him. I think Rakitin didn't push the car quite enough through that last corner. He's going to get the slipstream all the way down this main straight into the first corner. Is he going to go for a dive bomb? He looks up the inside, but just doesn't have the confidence on the brakes to fully go for it. Malik does go very wide without giving him a good exit to hold on to that 5th place. And this is going to be a great battle between these two all the way until the end.
It is indeed. It was a great battle in race 1. Like I said, Malik a little wide, but Rakitin couldn't take full advantage of that coming into turns 1 and 2. We're now seeing just up the road there, Al Alawi has fell into the path of Rahawi. And Ibrahim now he's dropped off as Salim, and he's fell into the clutches of Fahad. Thor kind of in no man's land. He's not being attacked or put under any pressure from Malik behind, but is also not really on the battle for the podium. So it's going to be interesting to see what Thor can do if these two drivers start squabbling and having a little scrap. out on this circuit. Down through the corkscrew they come for the 9th time. 12 minutes gone in this race. And it's 20 minutes in total, as we won't get to the 20-lap race, that is for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see what these drivers can do. But 2nd and 3rd now starting to have a little battle, as well as 5th and 6th. So they're the two fights to keep an eye on in this race. There you see in the background, there is Malik and Rakitin still going at it. It was this close all of race 1. It was fantastic to watch, and it's been fantastic again. Down into turn 1 where Malik messed up a little bit last time around. Rakitin's going for that move up the inside. Does he get it stopped now on the brakes? Yes, he does. He's going to be all over the curb, comfortably up the inside. Malik gives him plenty of room, tries to come back at him on the exit of turn 2. Thinks of going up the inside for 3, but the door was always going to shut, and he manages to go around the outside. And it turns out it was a better run for him, because he's now got a car in front coming through 4. Oh, no. And that is game over. Drops a couple of wheels in the dirt. And Rakitin sails through and gets a good gap. But it was Malik there trying to come back at him. It was nice to see him really give it a good go.
Yeah, really, that was spectacular racing between those two. And I genuinely thought Malik was going to get it done, but just a little bit too wide. Heading through turn 4, ended up on the gravel. But I don't think this is quite over yet. So we'll see what Malik can do behind in the slipstream of the Ukrainian. He might see the red mist as well. He's fed up that he's now lost the place. What's he going to do? Looks like, I mean, I predict that Rakitin did have the pace on him initially, and I expect him to pull away, but you just never know. That was very tight through there. I think the pressure might have gotten to Rakitin a little bit as we head through the last corner. Need a good exit for both of these guys, and it looks fairly even. It's half a second between those two, but it might just calm down for a few laps. But once we get towards the end, it will keep back up again, hopefully, and we can watch these two go at it one more time to end off some great racing today. As Salim now has a very comfortable gap. He just managed to extend it a little bit over the last few laps as Arvind now gets ahead of Fanwawi as he's made a mistake. He was trying to push back up to Rakitin, but seems to have dropped the ball and looks like it was a mistake all by himself into turn 1. And hopefully Josh can get us a replay of what happened there. Down into turn 1. I'm guessing just tries to be too late on the brakes. He's trying to catch back up to Rakitin, and the car looks very unsteady through there, and the back of the car just did not like that whatsoever.
Just overdriving the car, trying to get that position back, and like you say, the rear end overtook the car, and that was it for Malik then. But Salim, like you say, he's got a good gap now. He's 1.6 ahead, but it's Thor. No, what's happened to Ibrahim? He's out of the race. Is that an internet connection problem? He is out of this race. 2nd place. He was having to fight for Fahad and Thor both gaining on him. Thor now on the podium. Rakitin now up to P4. And for Thor, he could now be looking at a chance of getting... Oh, now Rakitin's had a problem. Oh, there's another spinner.
What on earth is going on? That was literally synchro spinning as Rakitin spun. Then Al Rahawi did the literal exact same thing. But here's what happened to Rakitin going into the last quarter. He's got 0 pressure at this point, by the way. And that looks far too deep into the last corner. And you can see the car there just stepping out as he went and turned into that corner. And got back on the track fairly clearly. And then you'll see in the background, Al Rahawi did the exact same thing heading into that last corner. But what on earth happened to the driver who was in 2nd place? As he completely dropped the ball, and Alawi is out of this race.
I don't know what has happened. It has to be an internet issue for him to be out of this race, because he was doing well. And yeah, Salim now comfortable gap. Thor within 2/10 of that. In fact, no, he's not. He's passed. He's up the inside. You've just seen in the background there. Thor on the left-hander after the corkscrew manages to get the move done over Fahad Al-Rahawi. And well, for a moment he thought he was 2nd place, but he's lost out Thor, managing to get through. Let's take a look at what happened then. This is coming up down through the corkscrew. Just a bit too much on the gravel there for Fahad.
Slow down.
And then he's very wide. Yeah, you can just see cutting too much of that second part of the corkscrew, apologies. And yeah, Thor straight through. And he's already pulled that gap massively so far, so he's done really well. We've lost then Ibrahim due to internet, and Aaron has retired from this race earlier on. We're into the final 3 minutes, and it's pretty quiet out there now. Everybody a little bit, just over a second over the closest gap, which is Thor and Fahad. Although there is a gap between Malik and Rakitin that is closing. That is for 5th and 6th. So now Malik trying to come back at Rakitin after Rakitin's spin a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, and we could see some brewing, you'd like to say, in these last few laps. If we have seen plenty of mistakes today, so there could be some more awaiting us. Who knows what the race leader's going to do? As I believe Rakitin's made another mistake. He's lost a place. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I think that might have been through turn 6. So that's a lapped car moving out of the way for Salim. I believe it was. He's coming through the corkscrew now. Lost about 3-4 seconds, and that's going to be a slowdown. He cut far too much of the corkscrew there. And if that, he has gotten a slowdown and has lost an extra second. So not been a good lap for the Ukrainian at all. We can grab a replay of what happened. This is into turn 1 though. Might have been a little bit wide for him, and I'm surprised he's making these mistakes. He's got absolutely no pressure around him. It looks like he's just pushed it too much through turns 2 and 3 there. Got very wide there. This is down on the exit of turn 5. Now we're going towards turn 6. This is where I predicted he made a mistake. It's a very deadly corner as a beginner, and the back of the car not happy with that at all. Gets onto the gravel, which famously now in iRacing is just slows you right down to a crawl, and is definitely not what you want to be at all. And he's lost out to Famwami, and now he's down to 6th place and 5 seconds off.
Yeah, Malik back up into P5, so he gets that position back over Rakitin, and that is probably job done really in the end of the day, because we're coming up to, we will get one more lap in after this. Salim will cross the line to do one more lap, as he's putting a lap over one of our back markers here in the blue and yellow car. That is did that say 21 or 71? I'm not quite sure. Either way, it's dropped it in front of him, and Salim at the moment is now going to start the final lap of this race in what has been pretty uneventful when you compare and look back to last week.
Yeah, it's I just think it's down to the track just being a lot more difficult, to be honest, and I definitely think a lot of these drivers do need to be at a little bit more beginner-friendly tracks, because you have noticed that today there's been a lot of mistakes, and Laguna Seca does punish you if you do. There's little to no runoff. I think the modern version, the one in real life, is a lot more forgiving. But iRacing, I think, thankfully, have not updated it, to be honest. I kind of prefer it this way. It's a little bit more punishing. You've got to be a bit more on your toes and just meet your markers. And compared to real life, where on the outside of this section of the track is completely just runoff. It's just tarmac, and I think it takes away from some of the track, admittedly. But even still, great track, and I love it.
Yeah, I love it as well. As Obid Salim then is coming through the final couple of corners. He took the sprint race win. He's going to take the feature race win as well. It's been a good day for Salim, and it's going to be 2 race wins. I don't remember seeing Salim out there on track last time out, or if he did, he must have had a bad round because he wasn't up the order. But he's recuperated points today, and he's got them back. It is Salim who takes a double race win. It is going to be Thor on the podium. He has had 4 consistent rounds at the moment. He'll be 2nd place from Fahad Al-Rahawi. And then it will be Vijay Arvind to take P4. Butsev, Faramets and Al-Nafish has come across the line. Milik will be P5. Rakitin P6. And it's all been a pretty good day of racing. Only a few dramas, not as bad as last time out. And then they get to go again, a very quick turnaround. They get to go again this Saturday at 6:15 here in the UK, 5:15 GMT. Unknown yet on the circuit, so keep your eyes out for that one across all the platforms. But it's going to be an interesting day no matter what happens, Aaron, because these F4s seem to provide some dramatic events, let's put it that way.
Yeah, Formula 4 on iRacing is very famous for being just chaotic from start to finish, no matter if you're in the top flights of British F4, which we've seen time and time again produce some fantastic racing, all the way down to the lower leagues like this. It's either way, it's going to produce some good racing, a bit of chaos as well. And that's what F4 is designed to do. It's just designed so you can jump in and go. It's so beginner friendly. It's quite an easy car to go fast in, but it does require that little bit more extra to go above and beyond. But like you say, providing some good racing, and we should get some more later on this Saturday.
We should indeed, but that has been it for the end of the Oman Digital Motorsport F4 Championship here at Laguna Seca. It was a good day for Obeid Salim. Can he continue his fine form going forward? We can bring up the final classifications of the feature race. And here they are now. Obeid Salim, your race winner from Thor in P2. Fahad Al-Rahawi was P3, Vijay P4 with Malik in 5th, Rakitin P6, Saif Al-Rahawi was P7, Meshri was P8, Seri Butsev was P9, Vasily Faramets P10, and it was Abdul Malik in P11, Tariq Al-Zubair P12, Abdul Rahman Al-Wahabi P13, Ibrahim Al-Alawi P14. That was a disconnection, which was unfortunate for him because he'd had a great race being in P2, and Aaron, your consolation winner, retired early on in this race, which was a shame because he had good pace, but like you said, Aaron, earlier in the broadcast, he's had great pace but shows times of his own mistakes.
Yeah, it's pretty much the story of last week. He could have won either race, to be honest, and probably could have challenged for at least a podium today. I think he does have good pace, but just does overdrive the car quite a bit. And these cars, I did say they are beginner friendly, but it's quite obvious if you do try and overdrive them, it will just send you round. So just got to find that nice balance in this thing, and hopefully Aaron can improve on that weekend.
Indeed he can. Well, we will see you Saturday, same time as always, 5:15 GMT, 6:15 here in the UK. From myself and Aaron and Joshua, it's been a pleasant evening. We hope you enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you Saturday. Goodbye.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn.